Okay, virtual space architecture. I think it's about time to start talking about it, like, a lot. Before I start speculating further, I have a thesis. In today's digital age, we are striving to craft virtual realms that mirror our tangible surroundings with uncanny accuracy. So consumed are we by this endeavor that we inadvertently import limitations of our physical existence into these digital domains, neglecting the very essence of its boundless potential. Okay, to be honest with you, there are small, silly details that I observed visiting various digital spaces that made me want to make this video, and I want to share 3 of them real quick. First detail that made me cringe. Duolingo Place on Roblox has tiny indoor rooms, and can you guess what captured my attention here? Crowd control dividers. Well, first off, the indoor place itself pretty much imitating low-budget, unreasonably depressing exhibition space somewhere in a remote village, old-fashioned picture frames and all that. And yes, the crowd control dividers that make no sense, serve no function whatsoever, except from making the whole space unfriendly and unwelcoming. I mean, not really. Why? Another thing, and that might sound controversial, why do we need chairs and couches as decorations in virtual space? I mean, I get the point, it somehow makes the space more familiar and cozier, but I think we will eventually get rid of things that serve no purpose, at least for the sake of optimization, and will replace them with things that will have utility, or just choose different kinds of decorations. Another example is very similar to the first, however, I find it as a bit more cringe. Tommy Hilfiger space at Decentraland for Metaverse Fashion Week has small street fences. So why more cringe? If in case of those awkward virtual crowd dividers, your avatar could still pass them through because they're just decorations, right? Here, the fences really prevent your avatar from passing for no reason, and you have to go around. So there's no option to jump over as well because it is Decentraland. Again, that's the concept, and we are recreating the city landscape and all details are there to make it happen. I get it. And also, those fences are for zoning space, no issues with that. My point is, can we do it so that it makes sense and serves a purpose? Not just doing something for the sake of mimicking physical surroundings, no matter what, and boring people to death. These minor details led me to believe that we approach virtual space design just the same way as physical space design, which may not be relevant, could be significantly limiting, and again, simply boring. I totally can assume though that it's just me, and the majority is indeed wants the virtual environment to look as close as possible to the physical because it follows certain user experience that most people are familiar with. Yes, we got used to certain layout structures when it comes to apps, websites, same with three-dimensional space. It has to have some familiar features in order for us not to get disoriented and overwhelmed and stuff. That's why most virtual environments look like, indoor buildings or nature or city landscapes. But can it be different and still be easy to navigate? Let's talk about UX. Let's try to identify the fundamental virtual space user experience features. First, I think it's avatar representation, some sort of anchor point of view. Second, a ground, a horizontal plain canvas on which you can rest your virtual self and be able to move around. Arrow navigation, interaction upon hover or click. Some sort of map, fast teleportation option, because why not? And finally, menu interface. These are some of the features that could be, or rather should be, standardized. But other than these, the actual scenery of the landscape can be anything. And if the metaverse is indeed the alternative reality, wouldn't you be much more entertained to see some alternative landscapes? Here's some abstract question that popped up in my mind, but I don't feel like I'm qualified enough to wrap my mind around it. It sounds like this. How can we reinvent the sense of space and perception of environment? To figure that, I think we need the whole new generation of architects and landscape designers that will specialize in virtuality, metaverse architects, if you will. I imagine those architects to have a very different mindset than of those IRL architects. Creative minds that will make us want to travel virtual worlds just the same way as we do the physical, wanting to experience new aesthetics, not just play games and earn free stuff, even though I do that and I love it. I mean, most of what I mentioned, we already have it in gaming. My call is to have more of that available off the gaming world and to experiment with landscape design so that we are not obsessively trying to imitate physical surrounding as much as possible. What if it can be not only futuristic interpretations of physical environment in CGI format? What if it can be something very new and different? I imagine metaverse architects to completely discard limitations of the physical and think outside the conventional. They will come up with entirely new aesthetics and space design solutions, leveraging the whole new set of technical possibilities for construction, decoration, and zoning. Plus, our behavior and space navigation patterns are very different than virtual space. Therefore, they should also be data-driven in order to maximize that UX we talked about. Okay, I'd like to share some simple and good ideas to embrace experimentation with virtual space design along with examples, including some of my favorite digital art exhibition experiences by artists I very much admire. Play with space structure, which might result in sheer abstraction, which is nothing to avoid but to embrace. Alice Zhang Yu Eat Me digital art experience where you float in an abstract virtual environment contemplating audio and visual contents. Even though concept in this work implies that you are floating in a gut, this ghost kind of format can also be used for various more concepts and is very arty and enjoyable indeed.
Notice the materiality of the content surrounding you. What have you been consuming lately?
Play with size, scale, and perspective. Digital art space choice by McQ in collaboration with Adidas, where you feel like a tiny bug in a backyard full of things. Playing with alternative avatar styles makes look and feel of the space way more exotic. Even if your landscape is very conventional, UN Global Gateway Space developed by Journey has very cute character designs to play with. Play with landscape designs. Area of virtual art spaces on Mozilla Hubs has a peculiar and fresh aesthetics you can gaze at forever. Love it. Play with layout point of view. Say, trying Flat Lay Sims View. Complex Land Festival and Planet Freya Virtual Rave Space are the examples that I particularly liked visiting. Play with zoning. Should you use walls, mountains, or you could simply crack open the terrain and make visitors jump in between islands, which makes the experience even more fun. That is Coachella Island on Fortnite by Alliance Studio. And lastly, just play with everything. For example, can we make the environment change around the user instead of the user move inside the environment? I haven't seen such execution yet, but the Black Station online space by Puma is made in a way that the surroundings start changing and some animations start to happen as you move ahead. So it is some sort of performance just for you. Hopefully some of it resonated with you, or at the very least you found this topic to be interesting to exercise your imagination. In any case, your likes and comments are appreciated. Thank you for watching, and let's catch up somewhere, IRL or URL.